Muy bien, pues bienvenidos nuevamente. Vamos a tener el día de hoy una conversación increíble que realmente es de una mujer que ha dominado el juego tanto dentro como ha dominado por fuera, que cautiva al mundo con increíble fuerza, pero con una sonrisa espectacular. El día de hoy nos acompaña la 2 veces campeona de la WNBA, 6 veces All-Star de WNBA, que jugó por más de 15 años a nivel profesional en todo el mundo. Quedó campeona en Estados Unidos, quedó campeona en Polonia, quedó campeona en Rusia, por todos lados. Ha impactado dentro y fuera de la cancha. También ha sido entrenadora de grandes y grandes equipos a nivel universitario y ahora es parte de la NBA. Está con nosotros Taj McWilliams. Taj, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias.
Te veo
Hola a
muy
todos.
feliz como siempre, muy feliz y eso,
Sí,
eso, eso es parte de lo que contagia. Gracias por estar con nosotros.
gracias a ti.
Ahora, vamos a ir a un breve video para que vean todo lo que Taj ha hecho alrededor de su carrera.
¿Gatorade tiene 60 calorías por vaso? La mitad de calorías que un vaso de jugo de manzana. Gatorade, haz que los días cuenten.
It's only water, it's either sink or swim. Can't hold back your light and expect to win. Gotta go harder, oh, you've gotta learn. Don't suppress your fire, baby, let it burn. Be who you are. Nobody can take that away from you. Oh, straight from the heart. No playing games. You gotta be true. You gotta be human. Sometimes it's gonna hurt, baby. Just let your tears fall down. No need to worry about tomorrow, baby. 'Cause you got time to figure out. It's only water. It's either sink or swim. Can't hold back your light and expect to win. Gotta go harder. Oh, you've gotta learn. Don't suppress your fire, baby, let it burn. Nobody can take that away from you. Oh, straight from the heart. No playing games. You gotta be true. You gotta be. Who you gotta be. Who you gotta be. Sometimes it's gonna hurt, baby. Just let your tears fall
Down low, ball stolen. Williams right with a great step and nice pass inside. Hernandez with the assist. Lindsay turns, 7 seconds left to go. Still time. Lindsay with it. Pass up top. Taj, 18-footer on the way. Got it to go!
Hmm, 15 años. No recuerdo. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. Muchos años pasada. 15 años cuando en la escuela, mi entrenadora, she came and saw me. It's been so long. It's been, I don't know, 35 years now. I was walking in the hallway. This is a weird story that I don't know if I know in Spanish, but I was walking in the hallway and she came up to me and just told me that I should play basketball. It was strange for me. So when she told me, I'd never played before in my life, ever, never. And it was strange. I was really good at this strange sport that I didn't want to play. I was very shy and quiet, and she saw something in me. It was pretty scary at the beginning, but it really helped me with my self-esteem and my self-confidence. And I owe everything to her and my father. My father, I did know, played years and years before he started. I was old enough to recognize the sport, and he allowed me to play, and she molded me at the time, really young, shy, scared, tall-ish young woman. And who would have known? She passed away some years ago, but I had the opportunity to thank her and tell her how much it meant to me to give me this sport, this gift, and for me to share it with the world.
Esto es algo que realmente impacta. Un poco traduciendo para aquellos que a lo mejor no entienden tan bien el inglés. Su entrenadora la descubrió a ella. Un día llegó y le dijo, tú deberías de jugar básquetbol. Y en ese momento, ella sin haber jugado nunca, llegó e inmediato dijo, voy a jugar. Y le cambió el mundo, le cambió la vida. Empezó a jugar muy fuerte a través de su familia. También compartía tantas cosas, pero fue ella, fue la entrenadora quien descubrió este gran talento que Taj comparte actualmente con el mundo. Entonces, yo quiero saber, Taj, para empezar, yo sé que tú tienes un nivel de español muy bueno, muy, muy bueno. ¿Cómo fue que también aprendiste español? ¿Cómo llegamos a eso?
No lo sé. I don't know. I don't know. It's something about it that I love. It inside of me. It's a passion. I love the language. I love Spanish. I love playing. Everything about it. For me, it's the best parts of what I do. And so, learning different cultures, playing, everything for me just became like the perfect storm of I love languages, I love traveling, I love different people, different cultures, different foods. It's just, I don't know. So everything came together perfectly for me through this sport. I don't know if anything else would have done that. So with my mentality and the body that I was gifted and the abilities that I have, it was amazing for me.
A ella, el tema cultural, que es una gran, gran mezcla, que el mismo básquetbol trae, es parte de la vivencia, de todo aquello que ella quiere aprender. Entonces, el español, la cultura, aprender de la comida, aprender de todo esto, como que la fue uniendo hacia allá, y eso es parte de lo que la motiva. Muy bien, Taj. En esta conversación, quiero romperlo como si fuera un partido de básquetbol, ¿ok? Que tenemos 4 cuartos. En el primero, vamos a hablar ahorita justamente de tu crecimiento, de cómo fue el desarrollo y obviamente cómo la entrenadora te descubrió, cómo empezaste a jugar. Pero también me gustaría saber cómo fue tu llegada hacia la WNBA. ¿Cómo te sentiste cuando empezaste a encaminarte y decir, puedo dedicarme por el resto de mi vida al básquetbol? ¿Cómo te sentías?
I'm trying to think in Spanish, but it's going to be hard. You give me all the difficult questions.
You can always go in English and I'll just go in Spanish. It's good.
Okay. The level, when you're engaged and you really have a dream, an idea that you want to play, and your focus is at a level that you're moving through the sport that you love and you want to play. Even if you don't love it, you're just learning. For me, I'll use myself as an example. At the beginning of playing it, I didn't know if I wanted to do it. When I got in the game, there was something about playing against someone else and competing and even seeing my weaknesses compared to someone else's strengths. It helped me want to be better. It taught me about loving the game and focusing on my stuff and how I could be better. I'd never thought of it as expanding into my life. I always thought of it was a game. It was a great game. It was my perfect place where I could be. But as I compared myself to the greats that I was playing against, that even if I didn't know they were great, I could tell people were better than me. I want to be like them. I want to be like them. I want to do that. I want to do that. And it grew in me the want to be better, to study, to learn, to read, to do all this great stuff. And I think that's how you get to that level in my mind. There wasn't a WNBA when I was playing, but I wanted to be a professional. There was professional basketball. And I wanted to do that. And then when the WNBA came around, I was like, I want to be in the WNBA. I want to do that. And I pushed myself to those levels to see if I could achieve my dream, my goals.
Eso es algo bien importante lo que nos comparte, porque cuando ella iba creciendo, muchas veces ella veía como que el deporte era su lugar feliz, era un deporte nada más, era un juego, ¿no? Pero en cuanto empezó a competir a un nivel más alto y empezó a analizar qué tan bien jugaban otras jugadoras, que ella quería ser como ellas, que quería crecer como ellas, ahí fue cuando llegó ese momento de mentalidad y cambio de mentalidad, el cual lo llevó a soñar en grande, decir, este es el momento. Y que, por supuesto, a los inicios de su carrera todavía no estaba la NBA, pero en el momento en que apareció la oportunidad de WNBA, fue de, wow, yo quiero estar ahí, y soñó y llegó hasta allá a través de diferentes obstáculos. Y ahora mi siguiente pregunta para ti, Taj, es el saber cuántas veces te encontraste, porque no queremos un número, sino saber más bien cuántas personas o qué tan difícil fue cuando tú les decías, yo quiero jugar profesionalmente, y había personas en tu vida que te decían, pues no, tú no puedes. ¿Sí pasaba eso o no?
Sí. Muchas personas. I had so many people tell me I would never be really good. I would never get to the WNBA. Unfortunately, a lot were in mi familia, my family. They were like, this is stupid. You can't play that game. You can't make a living. You need a real job. I've heard that so many times. Even after I played and was doing well in the WNBA, people were like, when are you getting a real job? Because that's not a real job, playing basketball. And I don't know what to say to them at the time, but the strength of their nose, their negativity, pushed me to be even better. I remember after playing, I don't know, this had to be like 2004 or 5, where I was, playing different teams. I had just left Spain. I was doing all of these great things. And someone that was really close to me was like, okay, yay, that was nice. You played basketball. Now, you need to get a real job and stay home and take care of your family. I had a 3-year-old at the time, was married, and they're like, okay, yay, now it's time for your real job. And I said, wait, this is my real job. And they were like, no, this isn't a real job. Why? This is nothing. Like, you've not won a championship. And at the time in the WNBA, I'd won overseas, but no one from America watched overseas and watched me win anything. The WNBA is going to fold. They won't have the money. You need a real job. And that is hurtful and discouraging, but at the same time, you turn that negative into what makes you stronger, better. It fuels you. For me, it fueled me. For them to say that stuff, I won't say I wasn't sad. It hurt, but I also took it, all of that negativity and energy, and I put it aside, and that's what made me better. I was a better mom, a better wife, better basketball player, a smarter player, because I wanted to prove everyone wrong that told me I would never make it, I would never be a champion. And my career in the WNBA was just something for you to play for a little while. And then when you get older, hey, now we get this real job. And I'm still here in the WNBA working and living my dream. So
Nos acaba de compartir una gran anécdota de cómo a lo largo de su vida muchas personas le decían que no. De hecho, hasta personas muy cercanas a ella que le decían, no, consíguete un trabajo de verdad, y no. Y muchas veces se encontraba con eso. Pasando el tiempo, ya llegando a jugar en Europa, saliendo en España, siendo campeona en muchos lugares de Europa, una persona muy cercana a ella también le dijo, oye, creo que ya es momento de que te consigas un trabajo de verdad. Y ella así de, esto es un trabajo de verdad, este es mi trabajo de verdad. Y ella en ese momento era mamá, estaba casada y muchas personas se enfrentaban a ella y le decían que no, esto no era un trabajo de verdad y que ella debería de estarse buscando algo más. Y que aunque eso le dolía y aunque eso le costaba trabajo, para ella fue un tomar todo esto, todo lo negativo y volverlo positivo, o sea, volverlo motivante. Y gracias a Dios y gracias a todo lo que ha sucedido, ella siguió jugando, siguió haciendo, siguió ganando campeonatos y aún al día de hoy sigue trabajando en la WNBA, sigue trabajando en este mismo lugar tan bonito que es el momento del básquetbol. Entonces, Taj, con eso vamos a pasar el primer cuarto. Ya pasamos el primer cuarto y ahora vámonos al segundo periodo. En este periodo me gustaría hablar de ya estás en la WNBA, ya jugaste en todos lados. ¿Qué obstáculos te encontraste a lo largo de tu carrera profesional jugando? ¿Qué cosas difíciles había?
For me, I think the difficulties were just staying focused on the goal at hand. And there's a change you have to make when you play in two different leagues. As an American, in an American league in the WNBA, you have to fight so hard because so many players are at your level or higher. And you have to continually be able to get a leg up, like one little thing that you do better to stay in the WNBA, to stay in the league. Whereas someone else with a bigger name, taller, offensive, defensive minded, they may come in with an easier route than you. And so especially for me, I went to a very small college. I was fighting all this time when the WNBA came to stay in the league. I was drafted in the 3rd round. So at the time, that was like almost last. So every year I had to fight. Overseas, when I went to play overseas, I was considered the top player. And so for me, it was all about me and staying in shape and being able to lead my team and be the strength that they needed to win, to compete in Euroliga, in the team league, in the cups. So there's a difficulty for players, especially now. Like the NBA, they only play in the NBA. Some players go to China, some players go overseas, Italy to Spain, to Greece, to Turkey. But for the most part, NBA players stay in the NBA, and that's all they can focus on. If I'm better than Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Jamal Murray, how do I measure up to these type of players? For us, we play in a league with the top foreign players come to, the top American players in the WNBA, and then you go overseas and you're that top player. So the difficulties is like the mental aspect of focusing on one, where like in the WNBA, I didn't score as much. I was a defensive player. They put me on the best defensive player. I rebound. That's what I did. I could score, but that's not my principal job. Overseas, I had to score. They didn't want me to foul. They didn't want me to play the best player. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't score, because we can't win unless you score. And so that's the difficulty, is that change, mental change, where you have to go from this one to this. And sometimes within, I don't know, days. Like I would finish the WNBA season, go home for 2 days, and then be flying out 2 days later, whether it was to Spain, to Italy, to Russia, to South Korea, wherever it was, to play. And my mentality literally on the plane had to switch to, now I'm a scorer, now I'm the top threat, now I'm doing all this stuff. And that was the difficulties for me.
A lo largo de su carrera nos está compartiendo que los momentos más difíciles fueron, por supuesto, este cambio entre estos dos escenarios diferentes, cuando ella estaba en la WNBA y cuando jugaba también en la Euroliga, o cuando jugaba en tiempo fuera de su país. Entonces, que era muy curioso, porque ella, estando en la WNBA, quería enfocarse a hacer una cosa bien y hacer una cosa para mantenerla ahí bien. Y para ella era mucho el lado defensivo, ser esta jugadora defensiva que retuviera todo lo que cualquier balón que viniera hacia ella, poder bloquear lo necesario, y que en esa liga es curioso porque la WNBA se distingue por tener las mejores jugadoras de todo el mundo. Y, por ejemplo, cuando se compara con la NBA, que muchos jugadores se quedan ahí, que han llevado toda su carrera, se quedan en la NBA y no tienen este traslado a jugar en algunos lugares diferentes, como es en la Euroliga. En el caso de Taj, ella terminaba un torneo con la WNBA y 2 días después prácticamente se iba a viajar a otro país y tenía que cambiar la mentalidad, porque acá era una jugadora defensiva, era una jugadora que cumplía su misión dentro de la cancha. Y del otro lado le decían, tú tienes que anotar todo el tiempo, porque si no anotas no ganamos. Entonces, este cambio de mentalidades y mantener el enfoque para ella fue este obstáculo, y que fue de las cosas más difíciles. Muy bien, Taj. Ya que vimos que tú has estado por todos lados y dominando el juego, ¿qué opinas del juego internacional llegando a la WNBA, llegando a la NBA? Porque hay jugadores de toda Latinoamérica aquí viéndonos. ¿Qué opinas o qué crees que trae la pasión latinoamericana o internacional al deporte en Estados Unidos?
Speed. International players are faster. They're taller. They can shoot better outside. When I played years and years ago, it was more of a slower game. The bigger posts, Margot Diedick from Poland, the 7'2", she could play in the game. We had a 6'10" player that could play in the game. It was that type of game where you could slow down. Once international players started coming into the league, just like in the NBA, for us, the game sped up. It got faster, much faster, because international players, their bigs can play the stretch position. And that's where that really came from. It wasn't from, LeBron James suddenly being able to be a stretch player. That position was started internationally. I remember playing against 6'5", who was the 3 player. And the 6'2" was still the post, but they were all outside. Everyone internationally can handle the ball. And I think that shows the versatility of an international player, and why being in the WNBA in America, we need those type of players, because if you notice, there's just more and more players, international players, coming into the league. It's not less. It's because that skill set is so important. That's the skill set that I love. When I was in Mexico City with the Latam girls and we were doing the academy, that's one of the things that I loved. I watched those young ladies playing, and I noticed that everyone from 1 to 5 could handle the ball, could shoot threes. For us in the US, we don't do that. Like, our posts stay posts, which is a detriment, because even if they're a small post or big post, when you get to want to be a professional player or to college, now you need that skill set that you don't have. I remember going overseas and having to learn how to dribble. I didn't know, because I was a post. I never dribbled. I just caught the ball in the post, made a move. I couldn't shoot outside the key. Being in international play, I developed those skills because that's what everyone did. And that's made me a better player, by playing internationally, not by staying in the state and playing against the same players and being in the same box. Playing internationally allowed me to develop the skills that international players already have. And that's one of the best things I've seen, as much as I've traveled, coaching, playing, is that international players have skill sets that we don't develop in our young players, and they have it earlier. And that's why you see so many of the colleges are getting all of those players, because they love that skill set. And that's important.
Eso es algo que nos acaba de compartir, que es esencial para todos los que nos están viendo ahorita. Es bien importante. Ella marca que el juego internacional es un juego rápido, pero también es un juego versátil. Es un juego donde muchos de los jugadores internacionales, seas poste, seas botador, seas ala, tú sabes cumplir todas las misiones alrededor de la cancha. Entonces, que mencionaba justamente que LeBron James creció de este modo, creció y prolongó su juego a cualquier área de la cancha, porque te das cuenta de que hay jugadores que lo pueden hacer y entonces LeBron James también llevó su juego a ser un botador, a ser un poste, a hacer cualquiera de las posiciones y eso es lo que trae el juego internacional. Cuando a ella le tocaba, por ejemplo, viajar a Europa o estar jugando en cualquiera de los países alrededor, llegaba y ella tenía que también aprender a votar y de hecho nos menciona que ella aprendió a votar aún más estando en este tipo de ligas internacionales. Entonces, para ella, eso es versatilidad y la flexibilidad que tiene cada uno de los jugadores para adaptarse a cada posición. Muy bien, Taj. Ahora vamos a pasar al tercer cuarto. Ya pasamos halftime is over, entonces es momento de llegar al tercer cuarto. En el tercer cuarto, me gustaría que nos explicaras un poco de qué es el éxito. La palabra success para muchos es una palabra que tiene una definición diferente. Para ti, ¿qué es el éxito?
For me, I think it's success is defined by, for certain people, success is defined if you win or lose. For me, success is defined at how much you change according to the circumstances. So for basketball, everyone wants to say if you win a championship, then you're successful. I always watch Inside the NBA with TNT, and they're always talking about Charles Barkley, who never won a title. So Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith are always riding him and joking with him that he's never won, so he can't talk. But Charles Barkley is one of the most successful NBA legends to play the game. And so for me, I don't define success as winning championships. Yes, it is one of the best things I've ever experienced, but I can't say that because I won a title, I was successful, or because I did not win, I was not successful. And so the things for me for success are learning every year, being able to look at myself and study how I was and how I've developed. So from year 1 to year 2 to year 5, if I've developed every year, then it's a success. I've been 0-6 in a game and not hit anything. And I've been, 8 for 8 in a game where I hit everything, and 4 for 4 from the free throw line, where I had a perfect game. And I didn't feel good or bad about either one. But the success for young players is I went from not being able to use my left hand in a layup to being able to make a left hand layup, to then being able to make a left hand layup with contact and make it and one, and being able to finish on the free throw line. Last year, I couldn't really dribble. This year, I can dribble. Next year, I'll dribble against pressure. Those are the things that are successful for young players. I've learned how to make a better overhead pass, stronger chest pass. Those are the things when you think about your success as a young player, you don't put so much pressure on your shoulders, but the small steps that you grow are still success for you. That makes it a positive experience, and it makes you want to keep developing and learning. Like, I had little sticky notes when I played. I put in my locker and I said, today I want to do 6 rebounds, 4 offensive, 2 defensive. And if I got 5, I was good, because I had a goal that I at least was reaching for. Every game I had some type of goal, and that pushed me to be successful, because then when I saw it, I knew there was a reason. I wasn't just there. Just being there is not good. I was there for a purpose, and that success fueled me to do better, and become a better player.
Me encanta lo que nos acaba de compartir, porque es esencial que muchos jugadores y muchas personas que viven en el mundo deportivo piensan que el éxito es tener campeonatos, es tener anillos en la mano. Y claro que es una sensación, nos comparte Taj, que es una sensación increíble. Pero también nos platica la historia de cómo, por ejemplo, en el programa de televisión de Inside the NBA, donde está Kenny the Jet Smith, donde está también Shaquille O'Neal y está Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, que fue una de las leyendas más grandes y que sigue siendo una de las leyendas más grandes en la NBA, que él nunca ganó un campeonato y que los otros dos se burlan un poquito de él, pero realmente él fue uno de los jugadores más exitosos en la NBA. Es un jugador que se desarrolló. Y entonces nos comparte Taj que para ella es más el desarrollo y cómo va creciendo año con año y cómo las cosas pequeñas se van mejorando y creciendo Eso es la clave para el éxito para ella. Si ella ve que el año pasado no sabía votar y de repente este año ya aprendió a votar y el siguiente año va a aprender a votar con un defensa encima, eso es éxito. El saber que tuvo un partido donde no metió ninguna canasta, fue 0 de 6, pero el siguiente va a meter 8 de 8 y luego se va a ir 4 de 4 en la línea de tiros libres, eso es éxito. Para ella es el desarrollo, es el crecimiento personal que se vive día con día y que muchas veces te quita la presión de encima de tener que lograr todas estas cosas porque estás logrando paso a paso a paso y que obviamente el llegar al campeonato puede ser una gran meta, pero que cuando tú estás haciendo estas cosas poco a poco, le das sentido a lo que tú estás haciendo, le das esta orientación a por qué estoy en este juego, por qué lo disfruto tanto. Muy bien, Taj, entonces viéndolo así, quiero que nos expliques porque yo veo que tú has sido jugadora, has sido entrenadora, has sido mamá, has sido de todo. Y veo que eres una mujer muy exitosa, muy exitosa. Quisiera saber si nos pudieras compartir para todos los jóvenes que nos están viendo aquí algunas claves o algunos tips para ser exitoso en tu día a día.
Okay, should I try in Spanish? No.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, I'll try, help work with me.
Let's go.
Los principales consejos para cualquier joven jugador es divertirse. Is that right? Have fun.
Perfecto.
Este es un juego y para ser el mejor tienes que hacer algunos sacrificios, pero al final del día debe ser divertido para ti. We want everyone. You make sacrifices, but at the end of the day, it should be fun for you, not just work. La pasión que sientes por el deporte debería hacerte feliz de trabajo duro y de estar en el gimnasio, the gym. That passion for whatever sport you play, for basketball, for me, that makes you happy to work really hard, really strong in the gym. You're happy to be in there. I was happy to be in the gym for 2 to 3 hours. It wasn't work for me. That was fun. Trabajo duro. Cuando está when I'm in the gym, that's where I'm going to be. Whether I'm watching games, it's what I want to do. So I'm diligente, constante, consistency. I'm diligent. This is what I do. And so I do it. When you work, trabajo duro es propia. Hard work is its own reward. Recompensa.
That's it.
Hard work is its own reward for basketball players. You work hard, you come out, you're sweaty, you feel great about yourself. And for me, the harder you work, cuando más duro, trabajes fuera. The harder you work on the court, the easier the game becomes on it and off. So you put in this really hard work, and the game just becomes easier to you because you've worked at this level all the time. When you play, most people are playing at level. They're not at that eye level. And if you continue that work, that games becomes so much easier. And the easier it is, the more fun it is for you. It's almost like a video game. Things open up for you because you've worked so hard on the court when no one's looking. And those are some of the things that I tell all young people.
Me encanta porque nos está hablando de sacrificios, como ustedes lo escucharon y lo escucharon directamente en español de ella. Sacrificios, estamos hablando de trabajar fuerte, de ser diligente, de ser entregado. Si estás trabajando, si estás en el gimnasio, estar en el trabajo, estar en el gimnasio, no estar en el celular, concentrarse. Y por supuesto también este lado de el trabajo fuerte es la recompensa en sí mismo. Entonces, si tú trabajas fuerte, te estás entregando trabajo fuerte a ti mismo. Entonces, me encanta, Taj. Tu español, muy bueno, muy bueno. Vamos a pasar ahora, Taj, al cuarto. Nos estamos acercando al momento de crunch time. Ya se está cerrando el partido. Entonces, Quisiera saber de algo muy, muy importante, porque hoy en día hay muchos jugadores que les abren las puertas a querer jugar de manera profesional antes de estudiar.
Mhm.
¿Tú qué consideras? ¿El lado académico y el lado deportivo pueden tener un punto de encuentro? ¿Pueden ser incluyentes? ¿Podría ser algo junto?
That's a really hard when you have to study and you have your work and you still want to play. And for me, I give everything its own time. So when I'm on the court, I'm on the court. When I'm at home, I'm at home. I don't mix the two. And I think as a young person, that's really hard to do. I have to do my work. I want to play with my friends. And oh my God, I have basketball practice. Those are some of the things. Like, my daughter is a tennis player. So for her, it was like, Mom, I don't want to go to tennis practice. And I always say, is this something you want to do? I can't make you do this. The tennis, I can't make you do. If you want to watch TV, hang with your friends, it's okay with me. But if you're going to do tennis, 100% to your tennis, 100% to your studies, 100% to your friends, because there's enough time in the day to do that. And it's really hard when you're young because things pull you. I want to be on my phone texting my friends. Oh my God, I got my homework. Oh my God, it's late. I have chores to do. My mom wants me to do something else. So learning how to put first things first. And there's my daughter as a teenager, she's a teenager now, 17. That's one of the things that's the hardest for young players, is to recognize that when I'm at school, I'm at school. You shouldn't be thinking about tennis tournaments and lessons and anything else. When she's at home and she has chores, she does her chores. We don't talk about tennis. We don't talk about anything. And when she's on the court, I don't think, oh my God, you forgot to wash the dishes. When she's on the court, it's all tennis, all work. I don't bring up anything else. I don't bring up past matches, anything. I sit there calmly and quietly, watch her with her coach, and then we go home, and it's home. I don't bring up tennis. And so for young players, also for parents, it's important to recognize that I have my own dreams. People always ask me, oh, your daughter not playing basketball. That was my dream. I need to make sure I am recognizing her dream and what she wants to do. And basketball was not in it. And I'm thankful because now I can share in something new that's all hers. And I think for parents and for young players, recognizing that everything, first things first. This is what I do first. Professional players have to do it as well. I eat, I scout, I watch the game, I watch myself, I relax at home, I play, I go eat, I forget about it. The next day, the coach will start talking about it, but everything has its place. And as young players, understanding those is paramount to be successful, to be in the WNBA, to go to UConn, like the kid from Serbia, Nico, who signed there, was amazing. Those are the things you want to make sure that you give time for everything, and you'll grow as a player, as a person, as a kid's sister, as the big sister, whatever it is that you entail as a young lady, as a young man, as a person. That if you do that, you'll be fine. This game is easy, really easy and fun.
Me encanta porque lo que ahorita nos está diciendo, estamos hablando de cómo repartir el tiempo, que hay muchas veces que nosotros decimos, uy, es que quiero estar en mi celular, pero al mismo tiempo quiero estar jugando y quiero ver a mis amigos y quiero hacer y hacer y hacer. Pero si tú le dedicas el tiempo correcto a todo va a tener el 100% de ti, va a tener esta entrega. Si estás en la escuela, estás estudiando, le dedicas el tiempo a la escuela. Vas a tener tiempo después para ver a tus amigos, para que entonces te entregues a tus amigos y estés con tus amigos. Después vas a estar en la cancha, para que puedas estar dentro de la cancha y no que nadie te esté diciendo, uy, se te olvidó hacer la tarea, estás en la cancha. No. Todo esto es el tiempo adecuado a cada una. Nos platica de cómo su hija ahora tiene 17 años y que ella juega tenis. Y que para ella sabe que su hija decidió trazar su propio camino, decidir cuál era su sueño, y muchos le preguntan, ¿cómo? ¿Tu hija no juega básquetbol? Y ella es feliz porque su hija decidió elegir su deporte, elegir sus sueños y dedicarle el tiempo a lo suyo. Así como los papás tienen sueños, los niños tienen sueños, cada quien sabe el tiempo que le debe de dedicar a cada una de las cosas y eso es lo que le da la importancia, porque una vez que tú le entregas el 100% de tu tiempo a esto, estás concentrado, cumples, estás concentrado y cumples. Muy bien, Taj. Quisiera saber qué tan importante es tener un nivel académico para ser una persona muy buena en el mundo del básquetbol, porque los estudios es importante. ¿Qué tan importante es para ti eso?
For me, that's the main thing. You have to have your academics in order. You just can't be a great basketball. You could be the best in the world. For us, that doesn't matter. You have to be, for coaches, as if I put on my coach hat, entrenadora, for me, a player is smart, has to be smart off the court in order to be really smart on the court. Sometimes those skills don't translate, but 90% of the players are really smart off the court. Because those skills that you require to be smart in the classroom academically are some of the skills that translate to basketball. So, for instance, we have 40 plays. How are you going to remember those? How are you going to study those plays if you're not really good at studying your calculus? You can't do math. You're not focused in English and Spanish, your writing classes, your history. Those are things that for us translate, because when I tell a player something, I don't want to have to re-explain 8 times to them. If I gave you 10 plays, by tomorrow, I need you to know 10 plays. I can't have you come to me and be like, oh, I didn't study, I forgot, I was doing something else. So those skills from being academically strong transfer over. And in the broader sense, if you want to play in the NCAA, you have to have a certain grade point average to come play in the NCAA, any college. There's Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA. You have to have a high enough GPA in order for them to give you a scholarship. So if your dream is to play in the NCAA in college, your grades have to match that. When I was in college, we recruited a lot of international players. I recruited players from Sweden, Finland, everywhere, because we want players that can fit into our system basketball-wise. But you have to have players that are academically strong and can come to school and be able to play because their grades are great. When I was at Post University, a Division II school, I had a kid from Russia. I had a kid from Russia. I really did. I had a kid from Russia. I had a kid from Germany. Their grades were stellar. Out of all of the athletics, we had the most honor students. We had an honor program. We had, out of the 15 players, 8 of my players were honor students, which were 4.0. And for me, the basketball skill, I wasn't really interested in. I knew they could play. I was more interested in those grades. And luckily, it translated over perfectly. Really smart players on the court, because they were really smart players. That academic piece is way more important, because at the end of the day, at some point, I can't play basketball. Father Time is undefeated. I am gonna stop playing. Players, you're gonna stop playing. All players are gonna stop. What are you gonna do after? And you need that academic base to be able to do something after. Not a real job, as my negative friend said, but what's next? Like my job with the WNBA, with the NBA, I couldn't get without a degree. You're not handing out jobs. My job as a coach in college, I had to have a degree to be a head coach in college. You cannot be a coach coaching young people without a degree in America, in the USA. So for us, that's paramount. I tell every kid I talk to, young man, young women, all academics is important. Because basketball is going to go away. Basketball is going to go away for LeBron James. Basketball is going to go away for, like it went away for Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal has a PhD. It's our top degree. Not many players can say that. So we want to make sure that players get their degrees in academic, especially in high school. They lead you to college success, which leads you, if you're great enough, to pro success and whatever your future holds.
Nos comparte esta parte esencial del lado académico. Le preguntábamos sobre qué tan importante es lo académico y ella nos dice, poniéndose el sombrero de entrenadora, que es de las cosas más importantes, si no lo más importante, porque para ser un jugador inteligente dentro de la cancha, tienes que ser un jugador inteligente fuera de la cancha. Tú no puedes llegar y decir, no importa todo lo de afuera, no me importa, porque te tienes que aprender 40 jugadas que tienes que saber si eres una persona que conoce por fuera. Entonces, no es solamente lo físico, es también lo mental. Y más adelante, cuando empezamos a ver cómo lo académico te abre las puertas, cuando tú estudias bien, cuando tienes buenas calificaciones, entras en la posibilidad de una beca escolar para que entonces una universidad en Estados Unidos que sea parte de NCAA te pueda llamar y decir, te damos una beca, te damos un scholarship. Entonces, esto es parte esencial. Nos platicaba sobre jugadores que ella traía cuando ella era coach en Post University, que traía a diferentes jugadores internacionales y que por su talento, fuera de la cancha, su inteligencia, su lado académico, ella lo reclutaba porque sabía, tiene la parte deportiva, pero eso se puede crecer. Lo intelectual, lo académico, lo estudiado, eso no se puede preparar si no es desde ahorita, desde que son chiquillos. Entonces, eso es una parte esencial. Nos contaba de cómo a muchos jugadores la carrera deportiva tarde o temprano se acaba, se termina, pero muchos de ellos se preparan desde antes estudiando para que cuando salgan en ese momento tengan una vida resuelta y puedan seguir trabajando y sean unas personas que estén entregadas. Puede ser al deporte, puede ser por fuera, pero que sigan trabajando. Como nos mencionaba Shaquille O'Neal, tiene un doctorado, tiene un PhD y que eso no es nada fácil. Entonces, realmente, lo académico debe de ser prioridad número 1 para todos. Por eso lo tenemos ahí. Muy bien, Taj. Te tengo que decir, porque el tiempo se nos viene encima, pero nos vamos a ir a overtime rapidísimo. Nos vamos a ir muy, muy rápido. Muy bien. Las preguntas de los jóvenes que nos han estado mandando ahorita están de locura. Solamente te voy a hacer algunas porque no tenemos mucho tiempo. La primera pregunta es, ¿cómo es un día para una jugadora WNBA?
A day in a life of a WNBA player is different for every player. So some of the players, let's say game day, for game day, they wake up, some eat, some don't. A lot of players at that stage know what works best for them. They head to the gym, they have shoot around, which is a light practice. And they watch video, they go over the opponent's plays, whatever it is for that evening. And then they'll get treatment therapy from the athletic trainer, and then they'll either head home or get something to eat. And that's where the days differ for different players. For me, I never slept. For some players, they take a siesta in the middle before the game where they sleep, they eat pregame meal, they sleep, and they rest themselves. And then you have to be at the games between 2 hours and 90 minutes. So 2 horas 90 minutos. I don't know why I can't remember numbers. Before the game, prima la partida. So for them, if they live far away, they have to leave earlier. If they live closer, they live later. So when I was in LA with the Sparks, I lived an hour 15 away from the Staples Center. So I have to be there 2 hours. If the game's at 7 plus the traffic, I would have to leave at 4 to get there in time. Sometimes 3:30 if it was a Friday and the traffic was bad. So that just depends on the players. They live wherever they want, in the team housing or by themselves. They play the game. And then afterwards, they get therapy. They go their different ways. So maybe some of them will eat with players from other teams, maybe not. But for the most part, game days are really similar across people. For non-game days, it really depends on your coaching staff. And for me, on non-game days, we go to practice. We have practice 9 to 12. We have weights in that time, video, and then full practice, and then you have the rest of the day unless you have an appearance to do what you want. And so for me, I always went home and watched my last game, and my last game against the team we were going to play next.
Eso es parte esencial. Ahorita lo que hizo un breakdown entre los días que tiene partidos y los días que no tiene partidos. En día de partidos, ella menciona que muchas jugadoras se levantan, algunas dependiendo de su estatus de nutrición con su nutriólogo, decidían si comían, si no desayunaban, y de ahí se iban directamente a ver película, para ver todo el film, todos los partidos anteriores, para analizar el equipo contra el que iban a jugar, para analizar su propio equipo y cómo se estaban desarrollando. Entonces pasaban de 2 a 3 horas a veces viendo película de los partidos anteriores. Después de eso, comían, se regresaban a casa, pero nos menciona que cada una de las jugadoras tiene diversas formas de vivir y de su día a día, porque ella, por ejemplo, vivía a 1 hora y media del Staples Center. Entonces, para poder llegar 2 horas antes del partido, para poder calentar, preparar todo, ella tenía que viajar 1 hora y media antes. Entonces, muchas veces salía de su casa a las 4 de la tarde, a las 3, cuando el partido era a las 7 de la noche. Entonces, ese es el ritmo en un día de partido. En un ritmo de un día normal depende mucho de los entrenadores. Puede ser de que te levantes temprano, tienen entrenamiento de 9 a 12 y de ahí se continúan. Muchos de ellos tienen alguna comida a lo mejor entre jugadores. Si tienen alguna aparición más tarde, también tienen eso. Pero a ella le gustaba, terminando todo eso, ver películas o repeticiones de partidos para poder ver contra quién iba a jugar siguiente. Entonces, siempre tener la mentalidad enfocada. Muy bien, Taj. Nos queda tiempo, yo creo que para 2 preguntas. Nos están preguntando aquí, ¿tienes algún consejo para niños y niñas en Latinoamérica que quieren llegar a jugar en la WNBA? ¿Algún consejo, algún tip, algo por ahí?
I think the main thing, if you want to play, is fun. Have fun. Be passionate. Be excited. Work, work, work. It's the game. When I'm on the court, it's a difference. There's so much more that I want to explore when I played. For players, that passion has to be there, the need, the want. Like, you go to bed thinking about it, you wake up thinking about it. It's for young players that want to get to the top level, that beats everything. Like, I loved playing. It was my escape, the box that nothing can touch me, that like it was part of me. It is. I every day I wake up, I'm thankful, I'm excited, I'm happy to be part of this game and develop and teach and learn. I'm still learning at 1,000,000 years old. I'm still learning new things every day. These young people teach me so many new things. And so for new players, young players that want to get to the top level, work, have fun. It's a game. It's exciting, but it is a game. And just be ready, because ready for setbacks. Because I had setbacks, and they stagger you, and some people will jump on and try to pull you down. You got to be ready for that part too. It's a great game, but there are people that try to pull you back. And those are the times where you have to know in your heart that this is what you want to do. Even at your young age, I learned at 15, I'd never heard of the game. And at 15, I recognized that this was something that I wanted to do, and that I didn't love it then, but there was something growing in me from that. Just being able to touch the ball and be on that court and drown out everything and everyone, because I used to get bullied really bad because I was tall, my feet were big. My dad raised me, so I was dressed like a boy a lot of the time. And that was my space to be me and to be heard and to be seen. And for young people, I think that's important. And that helped me grow and become who I am now. And that's what I want for every player. And I know when I was in the camp for LATAM, there were a lot of young people that were talking about how to talk to their parents, because their parents didn't really want them to do it. And what about their friends? Some of their friends thought it was stupid to want to play basketball. And I think for them, someone like me, where I was told the same things, but I just stayed with it. When I had to walk to practice in the heat, I had to run outside to stay in shape because I didn't have opportunities to go into a gym. I think those are the things that keep you. When you're going through those moments and you make it, it makes it all worthwhile. And that's important for young people, to have a reason.
Los consejos que nos está compartiendo aquí es que lo primero sea divertirse. Lo importante es divertirse, ser apasionado por el deporte, emocionarte. y trabajar fuerte por esto. Cuando tú te entregas al deporte, cuando vas creciendo en él, te das cuenta de que todo esto trae emociones y que también trae muchos momentos que son como pasos hacia atrás, cuando hay personas que te quieren tumbar, que te quieren hacer, a lo mejor casos de lesiones, pero todas las cosas difíciles a lo largo del camino son lo que lo hacen aún más emocionante. Nos compartía de cómo para ella muchas cosas que la tiraban hacia atrás, a lo mejor el no tener dónde entrenar cuando iba creciendo, a lo mejor también muchos bullies que también le pasó en su caso. Ella a los 15 años empezó a jugar y se dio cuenta de que había muchas personas que la molestaban por ser alta, por tener el pie grande y todo este tipo de cosas que muchos nos encontramos con. Son cosas que a lo mejor parece ser que nos tumban hacia atrás, pero que pueden ser motivación para trabajar más fuerte, para ser más entregados. Entonces, esta es una gran historia de que nos comparte ahorita Taj, de todo lo que es motivante para ella y que espera lo mismo para ustedes. Ella nos platica de que, de hecho, Taj y yo nos conocimos en el Women's Camp aquí en México, en la Ciudad de México, y que para ella, el ver a todas estas jugadoras que muchas veces no saben cómo hablar con sus familias y amigos de quiero dedicarme a básquetbol, es lo más difícil, pero que puede ser una gran motivación. Ella hablaba con ellas y les compartía historias de cuando ella tenía que caminar porque nadie la quería llevar o no podía llegar en coche a entrenar y ella iba caminando, donde no tenía una cancha y ella encontraba una cancha pública para irse a entrenar. Entonces, todo esto es parte de, todas las cosas negativas pueden volverse motivación para adelante. Muy bien, Taj, última pregunta, 3 segundos para ganar el partido. Cuéntanos, ¿cuál fue tu momento favorito en la WNBA? Tu mejor recuerdo en toda esta gran carrera que tienes.
Of course, my favorite memory is winning a championship. Es mi primo campeonato. Sí, con los Super Shock. Seguro, for sure. That's the best memory. I'll say because it was finalmente, I got to put my name where all the greats were, like Lisa Leslie and all these great players. I had been playing at the time when I won my WNBA championship. I'd been to the finals 3 times and lost. And for me to finally win in 2008, it is the best for me. Las palabras, there's no words, nothing that I could say at the time. I just cried. And it was a culmination. The tears were not just from winning that, but from all this work I put in all these years where no one saw me. And for me to be able to say I was a champion, and I was at home. I'd won championships overseas, but my family wasn't there to see it. No one was there. It was so satisfying to be home and to say I was a champion. All my family and friends were watching. My children were watching, my husband. And for me, that is the best recuerdo, the best memory for me in the WNBA, and always has been.
Ella dice y afirma que para siempre y desde todos los siglos antes, su mejor recuerdo de la WNBA es quedar campeona por primera vez. Fue en el 2008, después de varios intentos de llegar a las finales y perder, y que en otras ocasiones ella ya había quedado campeona con otros equipos en Europa, pero su familia no había podido estar ahí para poder celebrar con ella. Entonces, para ella, ese primer campeonato para ella es el mejor recuerdo, porque le tocó ya vivirlo con familia, vivirlo con amigos, vivirlo en casa y poner su nombre en este gran mural de las leyendas de la WNBA, de tantas mujeres tan increíbles que salen de ahí y son parte de la historia de la WNBA. Entonces, esa es la mejor respuesta para poder terminar esta gran conversación. Te quiero agradecer, Taj. Ha sido increíble platicar contigo. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias a ti.
Muy bien, pues gente, gracias a Taj McWilliams que estuvo con nosotros ahorita y seguimos con ustedes con mucho más que disfrutar a lo largo de esta semana.